There once lived a man named Aaron in a small riverside village known for its restless noise. Every morning, the roosters crowed too early, the fishermen shouted across the docks, and the sound of carts clattering down the narrow roads filled the air. But none of these sounds bothered Aaron as much as the noise inside his own mind. He was a kind man, gentle, hardworking, and honest. Yet he could never seem to find peace. When he worked, his thoughts wandered. Will they judge my work? Am I good enough? Why did that person ignore me today? Even at night, when the whole village fell asleep under the soft hum of crickets, Aaron's mind kept talking endless conversations that never stopped. One evening, after another long day filled with worries, Aaron went down to the river to wash his hands. As he leaned over the water, he noticed an old man sitting quietly by the bank. The man's beard was white, his robe simple, and beside him sat a small clay jar half buried in the sand. The old man looked up and smiled. "Your mind is loud," he said softly, as if he could hear Aaron's thoughts. Aaron frowned. "Loud? It's just thoughts." The old man chuckled. "A thought is a seed, but when you water every seed, weeds grow faster than flowers." The old man lifted the jar. "This," he said, "is my jar of quiet. I collect silence in it every day." Aaron laughed. "You collect silence? That's impossible." The old man nodded calmly. "Yes, impossible for most, but not for those who practice." The old man handed Aaron the jar. "Take it," he said. "Keep it close. Every time your thoughts grow too loud, open the lid and listen." Aaron accepted it, half amused, half curious. The jar was nothing special, rough, uneven, and slightly cracked, but he took it home and placed it beside his bed. That night, when his mind began its usual storm of worries, he sighed and reached for the jar. He opened the lid. Nothing, just air. But somehow, the act itself slowed him down. He took a deep breath, then another. The sound of the river outside, the rustling of leaves, and the faint crackle of the oil lamp seemed to blend into one gentle hum. For the first time in months, Aaron slept deeply. In the days that followed, Aaron made it a ritual. Whenever he felt overwhelmed, when the market grew too loud, when a neighbor argued, or when his thoughts spiraled, he'd quietly open the jar. And each time, he'd breathe and listen. Soon, something strange began to happen. The jar started to feel heavier, not with sound, but with stillness. When he held it, he could feel the same calmness that had eluded him for years. People began to notice the change. "You look peaceful," one friend said. "What's your secret?" another asked. Aaron smiled. "Just a little jar," he replied, "and a little silence." Then one afternoon, a storm swept through the village. The wind howled, trees bent, and roofs rattled. The river overflowed, flooding the banks where Aaron first met the old man. When the storm finally passed, Aaron's house was in ruins. His furniture destroyed, his belongings soaked, and worst of all, his jar of quiet was gone. He searched for hours, wading through mud and debris. By dusk, he found it cracked open, half buried near the river. He lifted it with trembling hands and saw that it was empty again. All the calm, all the peace he had collected, gone. For the first time in months, he felt anger rise. He shouted at the sky, at the storm, at fate. "Why would you take my silence away?" That night, Aaron sat alone on the riverbank, staring into the broken jar. As the moon reflected on the water, he suddenly realized something. The silence had never been inside the jar. It had always been inside him. The old man's gift wasn't magic, it was a reminder. The jar had only given Aaron a moment to pause, to listen, to breathe. The true jar of quiet was the space within his own heart. He smiled through tears and whispered, "Thank you, old man." From that night on, Aaron no longer needed the jar. He carried stillness wherever he went, in the market's chaos, in the children's laughter, even in the storm's roar. Weeks later, the old man appeared again by the river, smiling at Aaron, repairing his roof. "You broke the jar," he said. Aaron laughed. "The storm did." "Good," the old man nodded. "Now you no longer need it." He turned to leave, his robe fluttering in the wind. "Wait," Aaron called. "Who are you?" The old man looked back, eyes twinkling. "Just someone who learned to listen." And like that, he disappeared into the morning mist. Years passed. Aaron grew old. Sometimes children came to his house, asking for stories. He would show them a small shelf where dozens of clay jars sat, each one handmade, each with a small crack, each labeled quiet. "Are they magic?" the children asked. Aaron smiled. "Yes," he said, "but only if you believe in silence." Then he would lift one jar, open the lid, and let the children listen. They would giggle and say, "There's nothing inside." Aaron would close his eyes and whisper, "Exactly." True peace isn't found in objects or people or moments of perfection. It's found in the small pauses between thoughts, the breaths we forget to take, the silences we avoid. Sometimes all we need is a jar to remind us to listen.